Damas y caballeros, vamos al próximo combate de la noche. When the bell sounds, the man in charge. Cuando suene la campana, el árbitro será de Hungary, the referee of Hungary. And ladies and gentlemen, in the 67 kilogram, 147 pound weight category, de 67 kilogramos, 147 libras, we introduce the principals. First, out of the red corner, presentando los boxeadores primero de la esquina roja. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing from Russia, Timur Gaydalov. And introducing his opponent out of the blue corner, presentando su oponente de la esquina azul, from Cuba, de Cuba, Juan Hernandez.
Mesdames, Messieurs, pour le prochain match, arbitre de Hongrie.
So, a match between Russia and Cuba, and it is in the 147-pound division. Timur Gaydalov, the 23-year-old, who is a student at the University at Dagestan, the 1999 Russian champ, taking on Juan Hernandez, a mainstay of the Cuban team, who won the bronze at the last World Championships in 1997. He is a 30-year-old. Cast in the mold of so many Cuban boxers, a tall left-hander, hard to hit. It's also the 1998 Goodwill Games champion.
Gaydalov will have to get close, fire his right-hand lead, try for the double left hook, keep his angles outside his foot, lead foot outside the lead foot. Hernandez to go after the lefty here.
Of course, we are on the eve of the Olympic year, and for Hernandez, he was a silver medalist in both 92 and 96. Would dearly love to get the gold in Sydney.
Even though we've talked on some bouts how body punching is sometimes just ignored by the computer, it's still good to go after it early, especially against a style like this. You're going against the lefty, you'd like to slow him down for rounds 3 and 4. Good time to try it then.
Well, that left hook to the body, as you say, literally stops him from going to his left anyway, and so gives you a chance to land other punches. Under a minute left to go here in round 1, scheduled for 4 calls, of course, as are all these matches. Cuba placed 5 boxers in the finals. Russia placed 3. The United States had 4. Romania of 3 in the final matches.
Hernandez has been tough for Gaydalov to track. Moves on the angles, he looks defensive, and then all of a sudden he goes into an offensive mode.
So round 1 comes to a close. Not much getting done offensively for either of these boxers. We'll be back.
Well, the angle against the southpaw, the angle of defeat, very important. Now take a look.
2 seconds out.
Gaydalov had it the way he wanted, but when it changed, Hernandez was able to get outside and land his punches.
So we head into round 2. Juan Hernandez from Cuba in the blue. Timur Gaydalov from Russia is in the red. Gaydalov, a 23-year-old. Juan Hernandez, a 30-year-old veteran. Well, we said that neither boxer seemed to get too much done offensively. Well, according to the judges, they got nothing done offensively because there was no scoring in the first round.
So we go to the top of the second.
It's a pitcher's duel, folks. It's maybe an international competition, but they know about pitching in Cuba. It's 3 of the 5 judges sitting ringside have to agree on a point game they scored. Within 1 second, they have to hit their button, and that's why they didn't agree within a second, so no points were scored.
And you can see by the style why this is setting up for a low score in the bout thus far. Hernandez, not easy for Gaydalov to track, and if Gaydalov gets inside, he's tied up, so he can't get into a rhythm very easily.
And to further explain scoring in amateur competition, if you have not seen it, the white portion of the gloves is the part that you have to score with, and you have to pronate that punch so that it's not a slap. So when you put all that together, not everything is going to be counted.
There are sometimes in the computer score flurry of punches and say, well, how did it end up 3-2? But you look at that round and you say, it should be 0-0.
Good straight left hand by Hernandez.
He was jabbing nicely there. When he drops his left hand, that's when Gaydalov has been able to come in and try to score.
Experienced 30-year-old is Hernandez, as we said. Two-time silver medalist at the Olympics in 92 and 96. He's aching for another chance in Sydney. And right now, you see the experience coming into play against Gaydalov.
Gaydalov having all kinds of trouble getting inside.
So that'll do it for round 2. And as we head into the corner of Juan Hernandez, the Cuban 30-year-old, two-time Olympian, he is thinking that he's getting a few things done in this fight.
He's able to stay outside, which is where he wants to be in this bout. Outside, the lefty, get the jab moving, and Gaydalov has his trouble getting inside. And there you see the magic of Hernandez when he is outside. He's able to shuffle, he's able to go off to the side, and the smaller opponent cannot get at him. That's pretty much the outline of this fight, as you get a different look at Juan Hernandez in control here. Remember, the smaller fighter has to drive him back, and when that's not happening, Hernandez in good shape.
And that left hand getting in against Gaydalov, so they're figuring out in Gaydalov's corner, how can we make this more of an inside fight? He's done that on some occasions in this bout, but not always. Well, we're back in the 147-pound division. There's Juan Hernandez in the blue, and in the red is Timur Gaydalov. Gaydalov from Russia, and Hernandez from Cuba. Headed to round 3. And in the second round, Gaydalov is able to even things up, and it is 2-2.
So an explosion in round 2 after the opening round of 0-0. And he's really trying everything. This is a tough style for him. At one point last round, it looked like he was practically sprinting to get inside. He ran 3 steps to get close. Anything to get inside that jab, he is ready to pay the price.
And now Gaydalov doing some good work on the inside. Landed a good left hook there.
He would love this bout to take place there.
This is as much infighting as I've seen from Hernandez in all the times I've seen him box. And I saw him at both the 92 and 96 Olympics and in other competitions which we've done here on ESPN. And he's allowing Gaydalov to get inside. There he's hot-shotting on the outside.
Sometimes the guy works his way inside and becomes an inside fight. In this case, that's partially true, but Hernandez is also very happy. He landed some body shots himself. He sat down on his punches, and when a guy on the outside all of a sudden gets a chance to slug once in a while, he might like it. That's what happened to Hernandez in certain parts of this bout.
Good work by Hernandez, though, on the outside there. I don't know if all those are very, but boy, he has done some very good counter-punching to Gaydalov.
He's done excellent work on the outside. Maybe the thing for him is, though, when Gaydalov is coming over, he has landed some body shots, and he's happy with himself on the inside. But the bout will be won for him on the outside.
Slip. Hernandez goes down. The referee from Hungary will brush his gloves off. So final seconds here of the third round. There's one left to go, and this one is definitely going down. So we will be back for round 4. Stay with us. We head into round 4, the final round of this 147-pound match between Juan Hernandez of Cuba and Timur Gaydalov of Russia. And as we head into this final round, Dave, the computer scoring has Gaydalov ahead 4-3.
That's pretty strange. That's ignoring all the nice work that Hernandez did on the outside work in round 3. And, you know, ring generalship doesn't count very often in these scores. We've seen that a lot, too. But he also scored.
Well, you know, as we presumably it's the outside scoring that they see in the computer. So this goes against all, you know, of the stereotypes that we've seen and been told about computer scoring, and more than that. I just think it's tough to take those points away from Hernandez, but he is headed into this last round, 1 point down. Of course, that could easily change. He won on a disqualification over Gaydalov, Malaysian, in his last match to get into the finals. Did Hernandez, and he's been dominant in this tournament, but right now he's in a dogfight.
And we've seen him bring some of that dogfight on himself. He could stay out there and jab all he wants in this battle. We're seeing him give up the jab and let Gaydalov come in. He has voluntarily decided to get inside and slug in this battle. And, you know, you can draw it up on paper, say the guy should stay outside. Sometimes it just changes.
That's a very good point. It hasn't all been what Gaydalov did. Hernandez off balance. Hernandez looks a little fatigued in this fourth round.
The guy coming at him. You guys have a lot of activity in the course of the final week leading up, and it will show differently on different boxers.
And that's a point to be made. You know, they've had 4 matches over the course of the last week. That's a lot of boxing.
You think of Hernandez, you don't think of him tying guys up, you don't think of him in the clutches like this. This is a style that can work against him.
So we wind down in the final seconds of round 4. And could Timur Gaydalov be pulling an upset over 2-time Olympic silver medalist Juan Hernandez? That's the 30-year-old from Cuba, Juan Hernandez, who is coming into this also as a 3-time world champion. And there is Gaydalov, Timur Gaydalov, not heralded coming into this tournament, but he may have gotten the job done.
If nothing else, he was able to get this battle on his terms on the inside. That was where he had the best chance to win this battle. There you see Hernandez is outside for times where he wanted to be. There was the right hand that he wanted to lead against the southpaw. At least in here, Hernandez can't be scored.
Winner of points, ganador por puntos, 5-3, 5-3. Out of the red corner, Russia, Timur Gaydalov.
So Timur Gaydalov wins it 5-3 in a low-scoring affair over Juan Hernandez. Sure, the Cubans will not be pleased with this decision, and so is some of the crowd showing its displeasure. Juan Hernandez not happy, but nevertheless, Gaydalov is the gold medalist. That is Juan Hernandez, who is the loser to Timur Gaydalov. But Dave, he is not at all happy about this decision, was sitting down in the ring, feels he was wronged. And over here, Alcida Segura on the far left. And by the way, that's the coach, and that's Teofilo Stevenson, the great former Cuban heavyweight. They have been vigorously protesting as he continues to the officials. This is not a happy Cuban coach.
Saying that his country has been disrespected and that his boxer has been disrespected. They told the boxer to stay in the ring afterward. And it's frustration. I don't know what you accomplish with that afterward. For whatever you let some steam off. That's
for whatever it's worth, I think you and I agree. We thought Hernandez won the fight.
Yes.
But nevertheless,
I think I've seen some bigger outrages too.
Many bigger outrages, but Alcida Segura, the legendary Cuban coach who has had a temper tantrum or two in his life before, not happy about this one. Well, there's Juan Hernandez, who finally exited the ring after a tremendous brouhaha here. And the reason he left the ring is because his coaches, and there you see Alcida Segura passing through the shot, made him stay in the ring, Dave, so that they would completely blow off the ceremony to give the medals away. So now there is no medal ceremony for Gaydalov or the fighters that won the bronze medals.
that's totally unreasonable for Gaydalov. It ruins his big moment. And, you know, you go and file a protest, which is what he did. But let's face it, I've seen much bigger outrages. Let's start with Roy Jones. Go back a few years ago. I mean, this is like nothing in comparison to that. And what are you going to protest? The computer? Well, we had this in the past with the partisan. You can wage your protest, but you should not interrupt the action.
And Segura and his assistant coaches had a tremendous tantrum here and really disrupted the entire event. While they are probably right that that young man, Juan Hernandez, won the bout, their methods could certainly be questioned. That is Felix Savon, the longtime Cuban heavyweight who has dominated his division. He is up next, and the man he will face, Michael Bennett of the United States, facing what could be his biggest moment in boxing, a Chicagoan who dreams of this world title. We'll have that when we return. Welcome back to Houston, Texas. That is Felix Savon, the Cuban heavyweight champion who ostensibly is headed toward the ring to fight Michael Bennett of the United States. However, as you see him walking around with the Cuban delegation, that's the Cuban coach, Alcida Segura, they are chanting, and we have been told that he may not fight this fight, that they may stage a walkout, and Felix Savon may not get in the ring against that man, Michael Bennett from Chicago, Illinois, who simply wants to fight. Of course, the Cubans are distressed over Juan Hernandez losing his decision to Gaydalov, and we have been told that Savon will not fight, and you see him leaving. We have been told that Fidel Castro, watching the bouts on the international feed, called and said, stage a walkout, and so Felix Savon will walk out, and that man, Michael Bennett, will win on a walkover, and the Cubans have said, we don't want to play anymore.
How ugly is it when politics gets into sport? You see it again. The ultimate crybaby complex here, that you don't like what goes on, you wage your protest with the official channels, and not to this level.
And meanwhile, Michael Bennett is left with no place to go as the Cubans and Felix Savon leave, but of course Michael Bennett will win by walkover and win the gold medal in the heavyweight division. The Cuban